Welcome to the Blackout Show, presented by the Guillen Grid, a show about the Chicago White Sox baseball, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll debate what's working and what's not on the south side of Chicago. It's old school versus new school baseball. And most importantly, we're keeping all the receipts.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Gonzo, Jay, and our guest to be named here shortly. But, gentlemen, Caleb Bonemer has broke officially the top 100. Add that to another White Sox top 100 prospect up in the farm system. And Braden Montgomery has officially been promoted to Double-A. That is what we've been waiting for after the All-Star break. Our guest, Tim, is with us from Fantasy Aceball and a writer. Tim, I want you to introduce yourself first off, and welcome to the show as you break your cherry on with us. But give us a little introduction of yourself and how you became a fan.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a Cardinals fan, to be frank. Good. So I grew up, baseball, like lifeblood, right, in St. Louis. So I grew up in St. Louis, Cardinals fan. Funny enough, I actually have a couple roommates from college who were White Sox fans. Like, for whatever reason, I went to University of Mizzou right here, and journalism school, and like all my roommates were from Chicago, so it was either Cubs fans or White Sox fans. So I actually have some White Sox fans that were college roommates, so I got to see a lot of White Sox back in the college days. I think one of the years in college was when they won the World Series, but maybe it was the year before. I'm trying to remember if it was like, I can't even, what year was it when they won the World Series?
05.
05. Okay, so yeah, so it was like the year before I was in college. So we were coming right like the year after, like my first year of college was like the year after they won the World Series. I could just age myself a little bit, but yeah. So I've been doing fantasy baseball for a long time. Started making content like a lot of people did back. Like, I think I started like the year before or the year of COVID. I can't remember if it was the year before or the year of, but like right in that COVID stretch is when I started creating content, and I made the F scores. So if you're interested in fantasy baseball, I have my own like stats, which basically work like OPS plus or ERA plus, and they kind of grade out to 100 as average for fantasy. And so you can check that out on my profile, but mostly I do prospect stuff. So I write for Fantasy Pros. I do prospect articles on Fantasy Pros. I put my rankings out on Fantasy Pros. I have the Fantasy Aceball podcast, which is transitioned mostly to prospect stuff at this point, where I do like a weekly podcast on the top guys for the week. And then I was on Prospect One with Welsh last year every week. So that's kind of like the stuff that I have done. I guest on podcasts and stuff like that all the time too.
Yeah, and as we get into it here, Tim, this is an exciting time, at least for us, because we're starting, the White Sox broke the second half as one of the hottest teams in the league right now. And we're starting to see that, a couple of the guys in that, that future core they're putting together with Chase Maedroth, you've got Edgar Cuero, you've got Kyle Teal, you got Carlson Montgomery that just got his call up. All these guys are starting to, build that culture and starting to win here. And we haven't seen a bunch of winning at all the last two seasons. But you can see that Will Venable has them playing hard. Just before we get into your work, do you have any thoughts on, some of these guys that just got called up and, at least that catcher combo, your thoughts on that going forward?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you have to love what they're doing there. Like, you see kind of around the league, catchers are playing less. You have less of like the Yadier Molina playing, catcher going to play 150 games behind the dish. Like, look how well the Braves catchers are playing right now, for example. The Drake Baldwin and Sean Murphy tandem is working very well. Like, of course, there's rumors that they're going to trade one of them, but if they trade Ozuna, do they really need to? It's like, if you had that DH spot open and filter guys around, it's like, why not? If you have two really good bats at catcher and you can have them rest their knees, then those catchers are going to last a little bit longer. They're not going to run into the aging issues or, getting worn and, not being a good hitting catcher because they're so focused on the defense and they're getting so worn behind the plate that I think it's actually like a very good strategy.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you go around the league, that DH and that extra catcher you carry on the roster. I mean, your Cardinals carry 3 catchers on the active roster right now. So if you're able to manipulate that position specifically and still get some production, because let's just be honest, Tim, you're a fantasy guru. You know the lowest level of offense comes from that position in fantasy. If you have 2 catchers that are swinging the stick at the same time, you absolutely should take advantage of it. And I'm not going to lie. I have some shares of Marcell Ozuna in Dynasty. I know for a fact Sean Murphy is taking Marcell Ozuna's job as we speak. Braves love Drake Baldwin behind the plate. They love Sean Murphy in the lineup, period. And you get a guy like Sean Murphy in a groove, in a rhythm, that could change automatic. I know the Braves are kind of looking like mid-sauce right now, but if you get Sean Murphy hot, what does a hot Sean Murphy does? It's automatic slug, just straight slug, period. And if Drake Baldwin's already a more steady offensive approach right now, his slash line is going to be a little bit better than Murphy's. But at the end of the day, the Braves got a great problem. We just get Ozuna out of the way and just maintain the production that we've been getting from both of our catchers. I think a lot of White Sox fans are kind of upset because they know for a fact we have good catching depth, and we should have both of them in the lineup sometimes at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, AA is a trendsetter, right? Like, people want to do what he's done. Like, when you sign Acuna to that long-term deal for like no dollars, it's like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And he's a bit of a trendsetter. I think the dual catcher thing right now is flying. And I also think that the Braves are actually doing the Angels a bit better than the Angels, where they're promoting a lot of their pitchers straight from AA to the majors. And I think that that's another strategy that'll catch on. We'll see a lot more, just because AAA has a lot of issues with the ABS and smaller strike zone that I think is kind of like messing some pitchers up when they get to AAA. Like, we've seen it with like Brandon Sprout, who is dominating, gets to AAA, gets rocked. We've seen it with Quinn Matthews this year. So I think that AAA is kind of messing up some pitchers.
Yeah, and I haven't really looked at the splits between the two of them up until I think it was yesterday. But I was really irritated that they weren't playing both of them in the same lineup lately. But then when I saw the splits yesterday, and then I'm like, wait a second, that makes a lot of sense, because depending on the matchup, both of them have a 120 plus WRC plus. So then I'm like, I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, this is the rookie season, so I don't mind that they're doing that just to get their, the kinks out, let them just build their confidence into that rookie season. And then hopefully this offseason they make their adjustments and then can probably start playing a little bit beyond the tandem of that combo maybe next year. But that's at least my thoughts at the moment. But Tim, let's get into it, man. We eased you in a little bit. So now we're going to show some pre-draft rankings of yours. And this is when we're going to get on you a little bit, but not all kidding aside. I know, again, this is the pre-draft ranking, so maybe give us your post-draft rankings as well. But as you know, Billy Carlson went number 10 to the White Sox, and here you have him, number 22nd on your pre-draft rankings in the top 250 prospects. But give us your thoughts as that draft came about, like where they were at in the draft. Did you like the selection? Where would you have gone? I'll let you take it away with Billy Carlson.
Yeah, I think you went about the right spot, and I like it for the White Sox because he's going to give you primo defense at the shortstop position. He's a 70 grade defender. A lot of scouts right now say that Carlson could already be a major league shortstop, and he just got drafted out of high school. And that's how good he is defensively. He throws 99 miles per hour. So you're looking at like prime Gold Glove type defense from him. You're looking at like, hey, could this be a Mason Wynn type player? I think he's a little bit different hit wise than Mason Wynn, but defensively, yeah, I think you could have like a Mason Wynn there, or like a Jose Iglesias with more power upside maybe. The issue with Billy Carlson is that he's kind of like a smaller dude, and his stance that he had in high school was not one that generates power. Like when you watch his stance from high school games, he kind of looked like a righty version of Christian Yelich when Christian Yelich first came up, like super skinny dude, right? Really short, like his legs are really close together. So like not really like a power stance, kind of like a shorter stance, but a closed stance, you would call it. But he has changed his stance since getting drafted. There is some video out there of him now where he has a much wider stance and he has more of a leg kick. And there's video of him saying, oh, you know, I'm going to hit 30 bombs. I'm going to get to Tatis power, blah, blah, blah. And they're kind of like, hey, who do you think you could be like? And he's like throwing out Fernando Tatis as who he thinks he's going to hit like. I don't think he's going to get there, but he could get into more power than what we've seen so far in like what we saw when he was drafted. The dude seems like a gamer. So, I mean, that's a good thing. And if he does come into some power, because he already does have very good bat speed, then that can only be a good thing. I think that you would give some of the batting average potential to get to a little more power for a guy like Billy Carlson.
Off the rip, when we drafted him, I'm like, okay. So I feel like his floor, honestly, is like a Zach Cozart type. And when the White Sox haven't had a shortstop with that floor, as far as like good shortstop foundation, you know, you can do a lot. You can do a lot with him offensively. But to your point, Tim, this is not a complete product offensively. The Sox drafted him because he is the species of shortstop that they want in the organization. And I'm not gonna lie, I was on a stream with some of the other guys that I record with, Ray's Juke Joint and my platform, Bad Guy Radio. And the fact that these guys were literally doing cartwheels on the stream, I'm like, what are you guys dancing about? JoJo Parker just got picked. We were one pick away from getting Steele Hall. Like, what are you guys doing jumping jacks? So after the show, you know, I did my little research and I was like, oh my God, this guy is the shortstop that the White Sox are looking for. Because if you look at Colson Montgomery and Mindroff, they are infielders, sure. But as far as everybody's been wearing the word profile out, as far as them being a profile going forward, I don't think neither one of those guys are the type of shortstop that the White Sox want going forward. And you see Mindroff moving to second base. You see Colson Montgomery getting a lot of innings at third base. So, you know, obviously we're a little bit far away from Billy Carlson taking at bats on 35th and Shields, but at least the White Sox tell me, the fan, that, hey, this is what we're looking for. We're not just looking for, you know, ceiling. We're actually looking for guys that can fill a void, for lack of a better term. Because if you look at the White Sox infield, let's just say going back to 2022, we had nothing. It's been purgatory. And now we got younger high school prep shortstops. At least we're starting a foundation of maybe this could be a little bit of a assembly line of funneling good middle infielders to the league.
He could be one of the guys that moves fast too, just because his defense is so good. So despite like the fact that I said, oh, it's good that he's changing his stance to try to get to more power, that maybe could be a problem. You know, you might want him to just be like, hey, just get some hits. Like if you're, you know, like I'll take the goal, you know, the 70 grade defender at shortstop and the 99 mile per hour arm from shortstop. If you're hitting 280, I don't care how many bombs you have. You got 2-3 bombs, whatever. But I think he's the type of guy who will probably move pretty fast for high schooler and come up the ranks pretty fast. and he might not be great offensively when he first hits the show, but after 2-3 years of him like working in, I think that he could build more of an offensive profile from that point instead of trying to do that in the minors. I think for the White Sox, like you really like your window is for the White Sox is you're like, okay, in 1 or 2, like 1.5, 2 years, that's when we want to see go time. We have all these pitchers, right? You have all this pitching depth. We got the 2 catchers. We can't wait 5-6 years for Billy Carlson. So hopefully, 3-4 years, you can get Carlson's glove in the lineup at least. Even if he's not hitting bombs, it's fine. It's like, hey, just hit 260 with Gold Glove defense, a couple bombs. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think you'll take that at that point.
Sounds awful like what you were talking about with Mason Wynn there at the beginning of the show. And to really go back to even last year's class, I really wasn't intrigued with that first round selection. I'm not taking anything away from Hagen Smith. He was the second arm in that class from my perspective. But for me, I always felt that was the safe route for them to go, is because they know they can develop an arm, and to that point they haven't developed, prep bats in the organization. But at the same time, if you want to get to that next level, you've got JJ Weatherholt and Connor Griffin staring you in the face for that upside, and you allowed to go the safe route. And I put on Twitter, like, if it was me, and I did this a month before the draft, I'm like, if it's me, if Connor's there at 5, you take him. Or if you're going to go pitching, if Burns is there, you take him. Fortunately, the Reds picked Burns at 3, so that took that out of the option. But if you're going, you got to go bats at this point, especially with they're playing 90 to 120 games of the season. You got to start building that core around those bats. And the fact that they passed on Griffin irked me, and it's continuing to haunt me now that he's #1 prospect in baseball. If you go to the second round, I'm glad they picked Bonemer, but if I would have went Griffin, I might have been looking at like a Ryan Sloan as an arm there in the second round. But we're going to get to Bonemer here shortly. But I can say this might be in this year's draft selection with Getz. This is the first time I'm actually really satisfied with the whole draft class from the White Sox in this year's draft. Going with Carlson, Falk at, they're going to put him in center field to start his pro career. So you got the middle all locked up there. And then in the third round, they get Kyle Lodice, is how you pronounce it? But
Lodice,
yeah. And that's your Georgia Tech guy who we'll see where he, if he's going to be starting the pro career at short or second base, but he should be up the middle. So he's going to give someone competition, and that's what you need for up the middle here. Do you have any thoughts there as we wrap up the class?
Yeah, I actually really like Jaden. I don't know if it's Fosk or Fosky, but I've watched a lot of video of him, and I actually really like him. I think he's a guy who could have gone in the first round. Yeah. He's a strong dude, quick and easy leg kick from the left side, good powerful stride. Dude is built. Like, he's built really well for a high schooler. Like, he's really looks strong. Was committed to LSU before they picked him, and they paid him over $700,000 over slot. So the slot that they picked him at was like $2.2 million, and they paid him like, it was like a cent under $3 million. Like they barely went under the $3 million. But I really like him. 97.6 average EV in high school is what he was showing as far as like his bat on the stuff that they have on the gun. And like swing wise, mechanics remind me kind of Jackson Merrill. So I really like him. I think that was a win. I think that like the fact that they got Carlson, they got this defense first shortstop, and then they got this offense first outfielder who is going to be like a power hitting outfielder. I think that's a really nice 1-2 combo. Lodice, who's a shortstop from college, Georgia Tech. I think he's going to be a quick mover, but I think he's more of like a role player than like a starter long term. Kind of reminds me of like a Joey Ortiz. Just watching him a bit, not as good defensively as Joey Ortiz, but just kind of like solid around on like all skills. Just like pretty solid player, can move around the diamond. Obviously playing shortstop in college, you could play second or third probably. But I think he's going to be more like a super util type. Maybe he moves to second And then you've got Mydroth doing the super util thing. But either way, I think that all three of those guys are going to be major leaguers.
Yeah. And heck, if Fosk, if he even gets near that profile of Jackson Merrill, which I think is really possible, you'll take that every day. And I really thought he was going to be in that like comp pick range in the first round. So the fact that he was still on the board, staring you in the face, and Getz grabbed him, that really helps solidify in my mind that they're, on the direction they're headed, especially if they're continuing to develop these prep bats, like what we've seen from Bonemer and Wolkow. Let's get to or at least our number one bat, Braden Montgomery, who just got promoted to AA. And I'll let you take it away, Tim.
Yeah, so I ranked him number 8 out of my outfielders. In my last rankings update, I went through and I did positional rankings. I did my last top 150 update back around like Memorial Day, but I did positional rankings back at like the beginning of July. And Montgomery was just promoted to AA today, and which is good because he was kind of slowing down a little bit. But the last couple weeks here since July 4th, he's been hitting, despite like not hitting for a lot of power home run wise. He's hit 300, 426, 480 since July 4th, good for a 166 WRC plus. Montgomery is a dude who knows how to get on base, and the power will come. And what I like about Montgomery, he's a switch hitter, and he's a legit switch hitter. Like splits wise, he's hitting 270 against righties and 268 against lefties. 5 home runs against righties, 6 home runs against lefties. So you see more or less like an even split between lefties and righties. Whereas a lot of switch hitters have that Ozzie Albies problem, right? Where they're like really good against one side and then really bad against the other side, but they just don't switch back because they're like, oh, I've never hit from this side against lefties before or whatever. So they never switch back, even though maybe it would be like to their benefit to do so because they're so bad from the other side. But Braden Montgomery is a true switch hitter. And he's going to be, he's probably going to be like a 25-10 type guy moving forward with a really good OBP. So I really like him moving forward for the White Sox. He's probably, maybe you don't want him to be your middle of the order bat, but I feel like he'd be like a great number 2. That's like the guy you want hitting 2. So
Tim,
I don't know if I want him hitting 3rd or 4th, but
you just made my day because Braden Montgomery is, in my opinion, he's another version of Randy Wynn, the old outfielder. Like, he's going to get on base. Like, I understand Randy was lacking in power, but it was a pain in the ass to pitch to him every single at bat. And I understand Braden's a little bit old for, for where he's at and the way he's moving up. But you got to remember, he broke his ankle, got drafted, got traded, and now he's re-immersing himself back into professional baseball. We might have hit a lick with the Braden Montgomery trade because if you look at our outfield within the farm system, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm only excited for George Wolkow. Outside of that, we needed somebody to fill that profile. And I feel like I wasn't really aware of Braden Montgomery's plate approach. But, listening to you talk and then seeing what I see now, I'm on board. I'm on board. So, yeah, I'm happy. I think he's like a Randy Wynn type. I don't know if he's going to reach the ceiling of a guy like Bernie Williams, but if he could be a Randy Wynn, hit 2nd, 6th, or 7th in a major league lineup, that's a plus because if you got a guy like that buried in the belly of the beast of your starting 9, that creates depth offensively. And we haven't had that on the South side. I mean, Gonzo, everybody thought we were World Series contenders in 2021. That lineup had no depth, no foundation, nothing. Just basically a team that's in a pennant race that has to win. That's what we were. And now you get into a situation to where we're way past that. New regime, starting off fresh. I love the building block of Braden Montgomery because you want that type of player. Not necessarily, how could I say, the highest ceiling at the position, but you need the foundation. Foundation is more important than ceiling in the White Sox, because we've seen Tim Anderson win a batting title. I've seen Yohan Moncada give us, one of the best seasons as a White Sox third baseman in 2019, and we came up short. Jose Abreu has won an MVP for us, and we have nothing to show for it. That's because the foundation wasn't there with the rest of the club. And I think it starts with the Braden Montgomerys. It starts with the Caleb Bonemers. It starts with the Billy Carlsons. And I'm glad Chris Getz recognized it, because I don't want to be long-winded, but you guys were talking about Jaden Foss. He was a catcher. And now we're talking about him being a plus outfielder, the middle of the diamond. Stop drafting other positions and trying to mold them. Just do what the game asks you to do. Shortstops, catchers, center fielders, you could turn them to any position on the diamond, period. As long as you stay with that formula, you'll be okay. I feel like the White Sox are getting back to that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's right where you like. That's that perfect setup guy. Like, if you're looking for a setup guy, he's the setup guy. The bat is not really like perfect, right? Like, he's around 68, 74% contact rates. So that's okay. But the plate approach is plus, and the power is definitely plus. So you've got a good one with Braden Montgomery.
I love the acoustics of a ball meeting his bat. Love it.
And the Sox have always, in the past decade, has always had a hole in right field. So if you got a two-way player here with his potential and the upside with it, that's a guy that we haven't had since Jermaine Dye. So it's been a while. It's been a while.
I mean, think about this. The last two good right fielders we've had, Gonzo, Jermaine Dye and Adam Eaton.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand the gap? Those are two totally different human beings. And that's what we got to hang our hat on at the position.
Well, I love it that, and that's the first time I've really seen Braden that high in someone's rankings. So, I see the vision that Tim has with putting it. That comp, though, with Jason Dominguez, that's an interesting one. But hopefully Braden actually hits the MLB, hopefully before. We'll see. At this rate with Jaden or Dominguez and the Yankees, man, I don't know when he's going to make his debut, but hopefully.
He's been playing all year.
Yeah.
You're sick. You're sick, Gonzo. You know that?
Hopefully, when Braden does make it, hopefully that potential goes higher than Dominguez's.
Dominguez is hitting he's on his way to hitting 240 for me in Dynasty, and you're talking about some wait till he make his debut. What?
I had to say it just because I know that Jay's been gleaming hope for him, but
yeah, I still got hope.
He's got hope. We all got hope. All right, Caleb Bonemer broke the top 100. We got another profile for you. Tim, go ahead, my friend. Take it away.
Yeah, I've had him in my top 100. My last rankings update, I had him at 40 overall, and I have him at number 2 for third baseman. Now, third base ain't the most primo position. Everybody knows that for prospects, but that's how much I like him. If you're looking on YouTube, you see that the comp I put on him is Bobby Witt Jr. Light, which that's, strong comp there. But I actually really think that the mechanics are pretty similar if you watch their swing. If you check out some video of both of them, great bat speed, insane eye for his age. He was like on the precipice of having, and he's pretty close still, but he's one of these guys where the walks and the Ks, like the percentage wise, his walk rate's almost 16%, K rate's only 21%. So they're pretty close together. So I always love that when guys have more walks and Ks. There's only like 2 people, I think. Like JJ Weatherholt is like one of the 2 guys that is like currently doing that, right? It's like Kevin McGonigal and like JJ Weatherholt are like the only guys in the minors doing that right now. But Bonemer, power and speed, 8 home runs, 23 steals on the season, 134 WRC plus. They just promoted Braden. I don't know why Bonemer is still at A-ball. As a 19-year-old, I think they should get a little more aggressive and bump him to high A at this point. Maybe there's something that they want to see there, but contact rates are all legit, like 78% contact rate. So that'll play all day. This is just a dude that are above all tools. Like he's like above average basically at everything that we're seeing right here. and there could be more in there. Like I say, he's above average at everything, but I think that there's more power in the bat than like, a 20 homer bat. Like I think he could easily have a couple of seasons in his peak where he's like 25 to 30 bombs. So I like Bonemer a lot.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, I feel like he's like a Jordan Westberg type because he may bounce around the infield. But if you got a guy that's going to be a pain in the ass to pitch to, on top of, how could I say, being able to move around the diamond. I know you probably don't like what the Crew are doing this year, Tim, but look at what Caleb Durbin's doing. Like that what he's doing at the bottom of that Brewers lineup, that's perfect for a guy like Caleb Bonemer because A, I know he's going to work in at bat, and B, if he's able to pick his pitch out, he could swing with square like it's MLB The Show. Like that's what I like about what the Sox are doing because these kids can pick out pitches. You're not swinging. You're not using your perfect swing the entire at bat and just walking your ass to the dugout. No, these guys are literally milking these pitchers, and in the minor leagues, you really don't see that as often. You think you guys just hit their way on. They literally just try to beat the hell out of the baseball. But if I got a guy that is content with taking ball four at the age of 19, imagine the value that's going to lead to when he's 22, 23 years old. Like, that's just, and we call that scratching the surface. But look at what that can blossom into, the possibilities. I will never, ever advocate for a walk over a base hit. But at the end of the day, a walk isn't an out. A walk is another opportunity to score. That's the way you got to look at it. And if you're a team like the White Sox, to where you're not going to cut the check for any of these billboard guys, you got to figure out a way to create your own offense. And getting guys that are going to walk in the minor leagues, perfect. Because we don't need to have 4 and 6 different meetings a week about these guys taking ball four. No, it's already in your profile. You do what you got to do.
I agree with you there. He also has a really great batted ball profile, especially for a guy his age. His ground ball rate's only 35%. His air pull is insane. Like his fly ball rate is almost 46%, and his pull rate is almost 53%. Yeah. So he already has air pull. So like you talk about like, hey, you want guys who are going to, launch it pull side in the air, Isaac Paredes style, so that they get to more power sooner. Or they get to more power than their build should traditionally allow. He's already doing all that stuff. So launch angle wise and air pull wise, like he's already on point. I think he should get bumped. Like he's 19 in A-ball. Like it's time to give him more of a challenge here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure Winston-Salem's knocking on the door in a couple of days here for him. And I'm really intrigued for when that moment comes because he's due for it, and we're ready to see him meet that next progression and really the next talent evaluation at high A. But I love the comp. Tim, listen, man. Next week we are going to get into it with Nate Rasmussen with the pitching side of it. But I want you to give you your opportunity and talk a little bit about pitching for the next couple of minutes. And we did talk about the guy that you're about to talk about the past couple of weeks, but I want you to really take the floor and give us, as a fan from the outside of the organization, I know you're down in St. Louis, but give us some of your thoughts on our pitching, our profiles out there, and I'll allow you to take it away.
I'm actually down in Jupiter. I live in Florida, so I catch Florida State League, so I see a lot of these guys. I get to see like half of these guys when they first show up in A-ball. And I go to games every week. So I get to see a lot of these guys come through. But Christian Opor is on the Arizona side, so I don't get to see him, at least not yet, unless there's some trade or something. But I really love this dude. I do a weekly article of the top guys that like really are like, oh, look how good this guy was this week for Fantasy Pros. And he's a guy that has made my top 10 list it's on my podcast. And I also do the article, and he's made that list like 3 or 4 times now this season, which means that he had a performance that was like, whoa, look at that. Like 10 Ks or whatever. But he's striking a lot of dudes out. He has a 94 to 98 mile per hour fastball that I throw 55 to 60 grade on. He's got this really killer slider. It doesn't have a lot of velocity. It's like 78 to 82, but I'm throwing a 60 grade on it. If he gets more velo on that thing, it could be a 65 or 70 grade pitch because there's so much movement on it. But he's got this 3/4 release point. It's like a quick flick kind of deal going on. So it's hard to read. It's hard for guys to pick up. And that's why he's just getting a ton of strikeouts. He's got a changeup too, but most of what you see the K's on are fastball, slider. So maybe there is a little bit of reliever risk there, but he's in high A right now and almost has a 16% swinging strike rate, almost a 34% CSW. So he's lighting it up right now in the strikeout department. Christian Opor.
I love it, Tim. Love it. And yeah, I know I think it was a month ago when we had Elijah Evans on. We flat out said that between Bonemer and Opar, they're having the best seasons in the farm, in the White Sox organization. So I'm glad that he's on your radar. And unfortunately, our time is, wrapping up here, Tim, but we got to have you on maybe in August or September and really get to some of those other profiles and even a little checkup on Bonemer as he gets to Salem or Winston-Salem. So, Tim, can you let us know where our followers can find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Fantasy Aceball. You can find my written stuff over on Fantasy Pros, and the podcast is the Fantasy Aceball Podcast.
Awesome. Tim, thank you, man. We really appreciate you having you on.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for the next time.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. I'm here. I got a baby coming in about a month. So as long as it's not when the baby comes, I'm here. It's number 5. So for me, it's just like whatever at this point. But
are you like Phillip Rivers or what?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting there.
Well, Tim, we're definitely going to have you on here pretty soon. But thank you again for allowing us to take a little bit of time out of your night, man. And have a great one, man. Stay safe, brother.
You too. See you guys.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, guys. That was Tim at Fantasy Aceball Podcast. Justin, we obliterated an ace.
Yeah.
Of course, at the rate on Friday, and then Will Venable just blew away that series. This is Will's way.
Shit.
The most important thing is to just set really clear expectations for our group and how we're going to go about our day and the things that we're going to do to build a foundation to be the kind of team we want to be. But it's also about cultivating a winning culture and being passionate about coming to work every day and creating a positive environment where people know that we're going to face some tough times like everyone does across the league, but at the end of the day, we're going to do all the things that we need to do to go out there and compete and play hard, holding each other accountable to things that you've set expectations for. But get ready, because we're going to go out there and play good baseball. It's going to be exciting. We hope to see you out in the field.
All right,
you make
Justin.
me sick. You make me sick, bro.
I know. But unfortunately, the boys are playing hard, and honestly, I haven't seen that bad of a series from the manager position in a while from Will. So let's just get to the meat and potatoes of it, right? In game 2, I understood it, right? Savali in the 5th fought himself out of that battle, got out of the 5th. A lot of people hated that he got taken out with 69 pitches, but he was entering that 3rd part of the order, and I thought that was the right move at the time. However, in a high leverage moment in the 7th, you go to the one and only Jordan Leisure, and he just does what he typically does and blows the game wide open. Justin, I know you had a statement that you want to say earlier. I'm going to allow you to take it away on it.
I feel like that's the one mistake that Will Venable has made as far as like bringing a reliever in now. We understand that you got to play the cards that you're dealt, but you had Mike Vassell like fully rested and ready to go. He could have easily ate 2 innings for you. Now you bring in a guy like Jordan Leisure. We know he provides an abundance of contact. It is a 0-0 game. Any sort of contact can hurt you, and it just so happens they hit the fucking ball out of the ballpark. Like, you gave up a home run to Matt Shaw. Like, I understand Matt Shaw is on a heater, but you fucking put velocity in on Matt Shaw's hands, and you force him to force the ball out of the ballpark. You don't fucking hang sliders to Matt Shaw. Why are you throwing a guy breaking balls that's not catching up to velocity on the inner third? Why? Like, people, like, I just don't get it, Gonzo. Why are you have a chance to win a fucking series? Mike Vassell, you've been literally pitching Mike Vassell till his fucking arms fall off, right? Like, he's literally basically Sean Camp. You remember Sean Camp, the guy the reliever who used to pitch every day in the slavery at Wrigley? Yeah.
Yep.
That's Mike Vassell. Why doesn't he come in at a 0-0 game? You're one of your more trusted relievers.
Vassell or Grant Taylor. Like, why are we starting Grant Taylor? I mean, we can get to that. As an
opener in front of Sean Burke.
I get, like, the flexibility they're trying to do there, but, like, at that moment in game 2, I'm going to Grant Taylor. I'm trying to get this W. I'll worry about game 3 the next day. And obviously, Sean Burke had one hell of a, day to day, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right, bro. And that's frustrating. And hopefully, we'll learn something from that. But even going into the game 3 today, even early on, why are we playing the corners in with one out, with Pise up to the plate, and then he was caught off guard by that curveball, and he just put a little wood on it, and it goes down, the third baseline. Just unfortunate for us, unlucky, but I still don't get the positioning on that. Like, play him back for the double play. But
yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, to your point, Gonzo, Ken W.O., his old ass been groaning and complaining all year about Will Venable bringing the infield in a little bit prematurely, and it came and bit us in the ass.
Yep.
So, I didn't expect this segment to go to where we're shitting on my manager, but at the end of the day, there were some questionable things being done.
Yep.
To say the least.
And that's just early on, bro, because then when we get into it, right? Because eventually Benintendi hits that 3-run bomb and gives us a game late in the ball game. And I mean, say what you want, but as soon as Robert gets on base, bro, even if it's questionable, I'm getting Taylor on the base path, bro. I'm not, because you see right off the bat, bro. With Robert's his lead there, like, he's not getting a lead at all. He's not 100%. So why are you keeping him out there and potentially making it worse if he tweaks a hamstring out? So
it was groin tightness that kept him out.
Yeah, your groin tightness, but next thing you know, he starts running and it's going to turn into a hammy. So I was really frustrated on that. But sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I meant to bring up, instead of that situation in the 9th, but the fucking mishap at third base with the umpires. So
the obstruction.
The obstruction.
Or should have been.
The fucking runner is going back to third base. He only gets third base. He doesn't get home. He don't get the extra base. Oh my God, I wanted to blow up. And then, but yeah, and the fielder has the right of way on that because the base path is 6x6. So why the hell is Will not out there backing his guys up in a situation where you're in the ball game? I expect him to be out there, especially on a 1-run ball game, and that ended up being the game that gave the Cubs. Sorry, it was a tie game at that point because that gave them the 5th run. Holy shit! I was irked, Justin. I was irked.
Yeah, no, me too. Because Cubs fans laugh at us. They say, "Oh, this is your World Series." Of course, it's my fucking World Series. I need the White Sox to beat the Cubs more than any other team in the league. Like, literally, the Chicago Cubs are my Green Bay Packers. So, yeah, no, we don't have a natural rivalry. No, you don't impede on any playoff implications or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I need the Cubs to lose 162 games a year. And when you have an obstruction not being called in a one-run game to where Gonzo, the game wasn't out of reach at all. Yeah, the Cubs, it was a 4-1 lead?
Yeah.
It was a 4-1 lead. So
Yep.
you're literally a Benintendi bomb away. And we can't hang the whole series on that. But honestly, Gonzo, we got to go back to the level of talent and where we are at as far as like a franchise. This type of stuff happens to teams like us. Like, think about this, Gonzo. The White Sox didn't add talent to this roster, and we're light years better than we were last year, right? Like, think about this. If Pedro Grifol was the manager, we get swept. We get swept, and me and you both red in the face crying on this podcast because we're sick and tired of shit like that. There were some egregious things that happened or shouldn't have happened. That's the Pedro Grifol tenure. At least we could get up on here for Will's Way and be like, oh, why'd you pull the infield in prematurely? Oh, why Mike Vassell didn't pitch? So what? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we get mad at as fans. Obviously, there was probably a plan in place long before any of those decisions were made. Maybe Leisure pitched because Grant Taylor wasn't available. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Vassell was already in the plans to go bulk relief today. So you're not going to burn him a day before, even though, you know, the circumstance, we don't really know all the circumstance as fans. Yeah, the shit comes out after the game. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that's going to elude us because, you know, we just don't know what was going on. Long story short, at least I can understand that the White Sox are doing what they can to win baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yep. Now the trade deadline, brother, is, you know, a week from tomorrow. So
Is
you're
that a
gonna
Hulk Hogan tribute?
Too soon. So we're gonna see a couple of guys gone, definitely some arms gone. So there's gonna be some holes.
If they trade Talkman, I'm riding.
But I would hope that by next week comes that you're gonna see 3 people get their promotions from AAA to Chicago and refill the bullpen. 1 would be Peyton Pillette, 2 would be Addison Coffey, and 3 is Wilkerman Gonzalez.
Ooh, the Red Sox.
So yes, so those are 3 arms I see coming up, and rightfully so, their production. But Peyton Pillette definitely, because you gotta get him out of the Rule of 5 eligibility. That's right around the corner. So Chris Getz is listening. Please, brother, refill that pen. We need it. And just like that, brother, we are on.
Yeah, one more time, because I'm literally the only black person here, and we're gonna get canceled.
Fix the click. All right. I won with Chase Mydroth last week. Chase went. Mac will be very upset. King Mac would be very upset because he went 423 this week with a 444 on base percentage, 5 extra base hits, 11 hits total this week for Chase. Chase is heating up. Sorry, Mac. I know he's garbage to you, but he's not garbage to us. I'm with Chase off the board. I'm going to go with the guy that hit the 3-run bomb, Andrew Benintendi.
That's sick, bro.
I know, it is sick. You're up next, brother.
Man, whatever. You got one more brother, and I'm calling it NAACP. Oh, Miguel. Oh, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Miguel Vargas.
Okay. He's heating up too.
Yeah, give me Miguelito.
I like
Hey,
that.
you want to know what's crazy? People think we're the Mets think they're going to get Luis Robert for fucking Mark Vientos, and I'm like, why trade for Mark Vientos when we already got Miguel Vargas on the roster?
I mean, Vargas has never hit to what Vientos did last year.
Yeah, Vientos had protection in the lineup last year.
Mm-hmm.
Vientos will never be as good as he was last year. He's light years away from that player last year.
I'm doing that trade every day of the week to get Mark Vientos.
No.
Because it's not just for, next year. With that control on him, by the time that we get Montgomery and everyone else up here, there's going to be protection.
You could do better than Mark Vientos.
Ooh, I mean, it depends on the package because it's not gonna be Robert straight up.
She said.
Yeah, we gotta see what is included in this package with Robert because if it's not gonna be just Robert because he's negative value with the contract. So yeah, it's gonna be Hauser. It's gonna be Vassal. Could even see a Shane Smith involved.
We trade Shane Smith. I'm blowing up the building.
And I've even, Beefloaf put his take of Grant Taylor taking offers, which again, I love Grant Taylor, but at the end of the day, I know that we're an asset accumulation because we're trying to build a core of hitters, and we need a couple more, bats besides what we just talked about with Braden Montgomery and Bonemer, and that's really about it for pop with some pop. So maybe Wolkow. I think Wolkow can make it, but it's not guaranteed. So we need some more bats, and unfortunately, you know me, I love my arms. Don't like giving them up, but with where we're at, I have to be realistic. And I would hope that Chris Getz is taking offers.
So wait a minute.
Have you seen
I
Go
lost
ahead.
pick to click, and then you transition to just trade all the Jay Targaryen's all the White Sox that he likes. Just trade them all. That's the transition we're going with.
No, because at least in our league, I'm the one that has Grant Taylor.
You might as well trade your shares in Dynasty.
Yeah. Because even so, I've seen like some of the rumors for Gore out there. I'm not sure if you've seen them too, but they're taking calls on Mackenzie Gore, and the packages for him is astronomical.
Absolutely.
Which they should be. But if you have put an arm like, Grant Taylor with that specialty, you're going to get some upside too out of that. Not the package you would get for Gore, but you'll get several
I'm not going
promising
to
talents.
If the White Sox, if I get a notification that the White Sox just traded a guy like Grant Taylor, I probably wouldn't even have to look at the return because I already know the White Sox literally untrust another team because of what I know for what they feel about Grant Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're willing to move off of that, we're starting at 2 top 50 prospects. That's the start.
And I hate to break it to you, Justin, sneak peek to next week, but we have in this draft class, there's a talent in there that could replace Grant Taylor. And his name is Gabe Davis. 6'9", fucking righty.
That's what I was going to say. You talked about Peyton Paulette. Peyton Paulette could be the reason why Grant Taylor is receiving calls.
Mm-hmm. And I am with Elijah. Like, I really wish we could have stretched him out as a pitcher right away. And that's probably what they're going to do the next 2 years, build him up as a starter. But if you have any worry at all with that arm and getting there, then you got to do what you got to do. Get the value. So I don't hate it. It does suck, but at the end of the day, I know it's going to be worthwhile. Or at least I hope it's worthwhile because I've seen how Getz's trades have gone in the span of 2 years. So I'm hoping for the best. But listen, with that Crochet deal he got, it eased my mind of him, my perception of him. Jay, that wraps it up. Let's get to shout outs. I'll let you take it away.
First off, I got to give a shout out to the Chicago White Sox because coming into this year, my expectations were some of the lowest they have been as a fan, like unreasonably low. But once spring training came about, I was literally begging people to take the over on the win-loss total. Like Gonzo, you remember, I didn't want Will Venable as my manager. I was hard pressed. Give me Phil Nevin. Give me somebody else. And I was dead wrong, Gonzo. Like, the manager for the first time in my life as a Chicago White Sox fan, proved me wrong. That gave me a little bit of different view, because if Will Venable can prove me wrong year one, what about these prospects? You know, I was off the Carlson Montgomery train because he was striking out and, you know, hurt in minor leagues. He comes up to the major leagues and he's a Hall of Famer. He's first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't care. First ballot Hall of Fame. Chase Mydroff, another guy, started off great from what? Let's just say May to early July. Colostomy bag. Now we're seeing him revamp. Like, this is a very accountable baseball team. And that's, you don't really find accountability not only within the White Sox, but as a team that's starting over. So I got to give a shout out to the Chicago White Sox. Chris Getz, Will Venable, Senor Barfield, Senor Bannister, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be comfortable as a fan right now if it wasn't for the work that you guys put in, you baseball guys, you baseball men. Because at the end of the day, my GM, my director of player development, my director of pitching development, they all were major leaguers, Gonzo. Literally, I can guarantee you Brian Bannister has the best changeup in the White Sox front office right now. Like, out of anybody that is involved with pitching for the White Sox, Brian Bannister has the best changeup. Me knowing that as a fan, I can honestly believe what he's saying about some of the young arms that we have coming up. So I'm fully on board with this transition of bringing baseball back to the South Side instead of pie charts and savant pages. That's great. I also have to give another shout out, and a lot of people might not like this. I got to give a shout out, to the Boston Red Sox, who just won a series against the LA Dodgers, 2 out of 3 in Fenway. They hold the playoff spot, Gonzo. My guy Garrett Crochet, depending on what the end of the year looks like, he might win a Cy Young in Boston. All right. We're talking about a win-win as far as trades for both of us. We spent almost 20 minutes talking about Braden Montgomery. You already know how we feel about Chase Mydroff. Like, if we could get more deals like that, I'm cool. And me being all bisexual, I love it. So shout out to all Sox, because at the end of the day, all Sox matter. But these days, White Sox more than red. What about you?
I agree, brother. And it's going to be
It's
going to be a huge deadline even for Boston. A lot of rumors floating out of there. So, and I really hope, at least for your sake of it, on the other side of the Boston or the White Sox, or I should say the Sox town.
Just say the Sox.
Your bisexualness.
Stop.
I hope the best.
See, I'm calling HR on you, bro.
So I'll shout out my girl Soraya. She's about to move into Michigan State. I can't wait to get out to the Spartan County in the next couple of months here and go green. But also shout out to the Hall of Fame, the best right fielder of all time, Ichiro Suzuki. Just got inducted, gave a beautiful speech. Him, CC Sabathia, Dave Parker, and Dick Allen, Billy Wagner. Love that lefty getting in there. I love it, bro. Good part of the year. Hall of Fame introduction. This new 2025 class is in stone, Jay. And what's beautiful about this is me and you have seen 3 of them throughout their careers. And that really puts us back to our fandom early on. I was a huge Ichiro fan, still am. And that does it for us, man. We covered the draft class of the hitting side of it and got into some of the farm system on the promotions. We got into Will a little bit and gave ourselves a nice little welcome mat to the Hall of Fame eternity that just got inducted in. Everybody tune in for next week. We have Nate Rasmussen coming on talking the pitching side of it. It's going to get deep. So get the popcorn ready, and thank you for watching The Blackout.